Hi everyone, I am Lucie from BookWidgets, and I'm going to show you today how you can create interactive exercises. As you can hear, I'm going to speak in English, but everything is translated to Spanish, so when you create those interactive exercises, you'll be able to do it in your own language. Of course, I cannot speak Spanish, I cannot listen, so there's someone in here that will translate your questions to me if you have questions later on. So let's just start out of it. This is the website.
Sorry, Lucy, one moment, please.
Un tema.
Una de las ventajas de Google Meet es que abajo a la derecha, en los 3 puntos, tenéis el apartado de activar subtítulos para todos aquellos que queráis seguir con traducción, o sea, estará en inglés, pero quedará escrito, ¿vale? Si lo activáis podréis ir siguiendo, en este caso a Lucy, en tiempo real, pero quedará por escrito, ¿vale? Simplemente eso. Lucy, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so this is the BookWidgets website, and with BookWidgets you can create interactive exercises, and that's what I'm going to show you inside Google Classroom. We build a complete integration so that you can create those exercises right inside Google Classroom. But of course, if your school is not using Google Classroom, teachers can just go to the website, go to their account and start creating exercises and send them to their own students with just a simple link. But if you use a Google Classroom integration, it fits more and it's really nice to see. I'll show you right away. So the first thing I'm going to do is to install this plugin to my Google Chrome, so to my Chrome browser. So this is the icon of BookWidgets, and I'm just installing it into the Chrome browser. That's just the first step. And then I go to my Google Classroom. So this is Google Classroom. This is how you know it. Just pick a course, just go to a course and go to your classwork right here and create a new exercise. So before you could see all these tabs before, but now when you install the plugin, you can see this BookWidgets icon appear as well. So you can just click on it, and then the complete website of BookWidgets is transformed inside Google Classroom. So we built this integration so you can just create those exercises right now. So we call them widgets. Widgets, it just means that it's an interactive exercise. We give you the template and you are going to add the interactive content for your students. The first thing you're going to do is just go to this green tab. We have all the widgets, all the exercises I've already created right here, and I can share them later on. And if I want to create a new exercise, I click here. Now I come into this library. So this is a library with all those different exercise templates. So you can create exit slips, you can create a web quest. This is really nice if you want to create a complete digital lesson. You can create quizzes, worksheets, split worksheets. I'll show you how that looks later on. So we give you the template, you just add the content. You can create games as well. So crossword games, word search games, bingo, pair matching games, and so on. There are some interactive exercises to spice up your lessons with images and video. And then there's more for mathematical teachers and other widgets as well. I'm just going to show you how you can create an exercise like that, how you can share it into Google Classroom, so share it with your students, how your students can create an exercise, can make it, fill out the answers, and then how you can grade it afterwards. So the most popular exercises are a worksheet, a quiz, or a split worksheet, because those three have more than 30 different question types to choose from. So you're going to create an assignment, you're going to create an automatically graded test as well. So I just click on one of these. I'm first I'm going to show you how something like this could look like, and then I'm going to show you how to create one. So I have one right here, and this is actually a split worksheet made with BookWidgets. On one side, as a teacher, I can add a PDF, I can add images, I can add just text, type in text, I can add audio, and I can add video fragments. So this is one side. So this is really nice for reading exercises and listening exercises. On the other side, as a teacher, I create my questions. So my students have to fill out the questions about this text. So here, there are multiple choice questions, multiple choice with answers, multiple answers. With images, the true or false questions, but you can just define those true or false by yourself. So you could say also yes or no, or add other columns. This is a sentence ordering question. So students have to order it into right correction, multiple choice with images, and drag and drop to boxes. So these are just like, I think about 8 questions out of the 30 different question types we have. So this is just a normal open question. When I go back to Google Classroom and I want to create this exercise, I just click on the type of exercise I want to create. So let's create a worksheet. The difference between a quiz here is just in a worksheet, all the questions are below each other, like I just showed you. And in the quiz, students have to go through your questions one by one. So they have to click on a question, on an arrow to go to the next question. Here, the split worksheet, you've seen that. So you have one side with text, images, audio, and the other side with the questions. So let's create a worksheet. So now, when you click on the exercise, you come into this empty template. And I'm going to fill it with questions, and I'm going to add some options as well, because every teacher teaches in a different way, so they need different options. I'm going to create a test about parts of the house. So they are going to learn English, and they have to indicate different parts of the house. I'm going to add my questions right here. So I always start from the top, I go down, and I create first the questions. So I click here, and I come into this new library of those 32 different question types. So we have text. This is not really a question. This is actually to just give information about your quiz, about your assignment. But here you can also add video fragments, you can add audio, you can add images, and so on. We have the normal questions, multiple choice with multiple answer possibilities, a short answer, a long answer. What you need to know is that of those 32 different question types, 27 are automatically created. But those others can't be automatically created because, yeah, it's hard for BookWidgets to do that. But that's no problem, because later on, as a teacher, you can still grade it by hand, or you can add an explanation right away so students can compare their answer with the explanation you added. So this is some kind of question. This is an open answer question. Here, students just add a long text. And the computer cannot grade it because every single student will add different answers. But here you can also add keywords. So if those keywords you added to the program appear in the student's text, you can give grades on the keywords as well. So there are other questions. So fill in the blanks, mark words in a sentence with different colors. Here we have, drag and drop text in a sentence, correct the right sentence, a table. This one I'm going to show you later on. So here students have to fill out the fields and indicate the fields on a picture. The whiteboard question is really nice as well, because as a teacher you can add, just add an image as a background image, and you let your students indicate different parts on the image. They have to color things on the image. Let's say the map of Spain, and then they have to circle Madrid. They have to indicate the different zones, the different provinces in Spain as well, in different colors. This is also nice. Here students just have to answer by adding their own picture, by adding a photo. The word sentence, the order, order in a sentence, but also sentences, order sentences in a text, like I showed you in the split worksheet. Order images, and so on. This is also a really nice question. Here students have to answer by just recording their voice. So if you're a language teacher, you can just let students practice speech as homework. So you don't have to be in the same room as your student here. Connect questions, connect images with text, text with audio, audio with images, and so on. And then we have the drag and drop. So these are the ones I showed you as well. So drag and drop text in different zones, boxes, the same with images, and the group images. This is also a really nice one I want to show you. So here, as a teacher, you create groups of things that belong to each other. So different groups of things that belong to each other. And BookWidgets will automatically just randomize it for your students. So this is how it looks. So I created groups of things that belong to each other, and students have to talk with each other. So let's say a banana here, a pineapple, une pomme, an apple, and so on. So they
Sorry, Lucie.
Yeah.
I don't see your screen.
Oh. I see there's a problem.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yes, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me if it's gone again. Okay. So I was showing this one exercise where students have to drag and drop things on top of each other that belong to each other. In BookWidgets, you can also add audio fragments. You can record them right inside BookWidgets. So this is my voice that I recorded. Bing bong. So they have to just click on the audio and they have to drag it to the right box. So this is a really nice exercise as well. Again, it's automatically created. You can show it to your students. After, let's see, after they send it like this, and then you could say, okay, they can immediately see the correction, or then you could say, no, they don't see the correction, and I grade it later on and send over the correction after I, as a teacher, review it. So this is the correction. Let's go further. So when I clicked on create a new question, so then I just start, I create my first question by clicking on it. So I just click on it like this, and then I start adding my questions. So indicate the parts of the house. And in this case, my students have to indicate different fields on a background image I added. So I'm going to add a background image. So I go one step down, I add the image. In BookWidgets, I can choose an image from my computer, and I can import one from Google Drive. So if you're working with a Chromebook, no problem, BookWidgets will work as well. And then you can just go to the Pixabay image library to look for an image online. I'll show you that later on. So I click on this one because I have one stored on my computer. Let's see. Here it is. So it's an image of a house with the different rooms. And now I'm going to add fields on that image. My students have to fill out, have to answer. So I click on it, I come into this new screen, I give the right answer, because BookWidgets have to know that for the automatic correction. And then I click on the image to determine my position. So the bathroom is right here. So I can add those fields on top of this image. And I'm going to add just a few more on the same image. So again, the living room right here. The bedroom. You can see that the other fields disappear, but that comes together in the end. The attic. Okay, and one more, the basement. So let's say my students just forget about the. That means that the computer will correct it wrongly. But if they still add basement, actually that's correct. So if I read every single line below every thing that I have to type in, then I can see if I add 2 hashtags and I add basement, that basement will also be graded correctly by BookWidgets. Like this. So I go back to my question, to my overview, click here, and I see the question, I have the image, I have all the fields that I added, and then here you can choose if it's capital, insensitive, or if you have to ignore accents or not. And then below every single question, we have this box of more options. So you could add an audio fragment as well. So you could say, okay, I have lots of students that do not understand English yet. So I could say, I'm going to add audio and I'm going to translate the question to Spanish. Of course, I cannot speak Spanish, so I'm just going to say the Spanish out loud into English. Indicate the different parts of the house. So I can record this right inside BookWidgets. I'm going to accept it, and it will add audio to your question. Of course, you would say, how does this look like right now? So I can go to the preview anytime I want. So I go here, and this is how my question looks like. So we have the audio fragment I just added. Indicate the different parts of the house. And students can just fill out here. So this is actually the student view, how students will see your test. And you can, as a teacher here, you can try it out yourself. There's one more thing that's really important about the question, and that's the last option. So you have to scroll down every time when you add a question to just add your points. So what's the score on this question? So basically, BookWidgets always says it's 1 point, and then it's multiplied by all the fields you add inside this question. So I added 5 fields, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this question will be on 5 points. I go back to my questions, and I'm going to add one more question. Let's say, let's do a connect. So I'm going to connect audio with images. So click on the audio with images, connect the audio with the right image. And I'm going to add the pairs in the right way. So what's correct, I'm going to add it to BookWidgets. So BookWidgets knows that's the pair that is correct, and it will automatically randomize it for students. So that's something you have to know. Always add it correctly inside BookWidgets, and it will randomize things for students later on. I'm going to add a pair. First thing I have to do is give the audio a description. That's for later on for the reporting. Bathroom. Then I'm going to add the audio fragment they have to connect with the image. the bathroom. Again, here, if you have audio stored on your computer, you can add that. This is really handy as well, because if you added audio in BookWidgets, you can still download it on your computer as well. So if you want to need it, if you need it later on, or if you have instructions that you use all the time, just download it and you don't have to speak it. You can just select it and add it to BookWidgets every single time. Then we have the image. I'm going to choose an image this time from the online database. So this is a database that's connected with Pixabay. So this is a website that uses images you can use for free. So bathroom. Just click on the image and it will add it to BookWidgets. This is one pair. I'm going to add 2 other pairs, of course, otherwise this would be too easy. The bedroom. The bedroom. Accept. Image. Bedroom. And then we have the living room. The living room. Accept. Living room. And that question is done, but we can go back to the overview. We have the pairs they have to make. And of course, again, I can go down here, see that the correction options are right. So they give 1 point to every match they make. So this is a score multiplier. Then again, here you can add image, audio, and so on your question as well. So this question is ready. I can go to the preview again to see if it's okay for me. And this is how it looks like. So students have to connect it with the right one. They have to click on the audio, the bathroom, and they have to connect it. And then they can just go on. So if my questions are ready, I'm not done yet, because I have to choose, I have to go 1 step down. And I have to choose here if my students can submit it to me or not. So you can use BookWidgets as a formative evaluation as well. So you can say, you just make it in class. I don't have to see what you did. I don't have to see your results. But you can just make it and you get automatically the correction as well. So as a teacher, I don't have any grading work. Of course, in this case, it's kind of a test. It's some points, so I want to see what they did, and I want to be able to give feedback and to grade. So in that case, you have to make sure your students can submit it to you. There's an exam mode as well. So here, here you can add a time limit on your test in minutes, so 10 minutes. And then when the time strikes, if I disable this option, they have to submit their work. So they cannot go back to their questions. They have to submit the work when the time strikes. So this is an option you could choose to use or not to use. That's up to you. Okay, when we have added this is the most important one. Then we go to the general options. I'm not going to go over every single option here, just the most important ones that are these 2. So the first 2, the correction options. So in this case, my students will get the answers immediately after they submit their work to the teacher. So they will know if they were right or wrong. That's not what I want with a test. So I want to be able to grade their work as a teacher myself. So I'm not going to give them the correct answers yet. if you're just doing it as a formative evaluation, as your students are practicing different things, you could say, okay, they can get the immediate correction so they know where they are at that point. That's one. And then we have here, so I want to show my students the score on each question. So how many points they can score on each question. If this is off, students will not be able to see it. If it's on, they can really see how many points that question is. So go over this list. We have lots of tutorials. I'll show you later on where you can find them as well. Then we have the questions here. Students can send in the work, and they don't get the automatic grading afterwards. Just I want to grade it afterwards, and then I will send back the right answers. I'm going to send it to Google Classroom if I'm done. So compartir. Like this. I just choose again a course, so languages. Then I can say make this test, just some instructions, and I'm going to send it to Google Classroom. That's it. So I can close this one. This will update right away. And now here, this test is, I can see that no one has handed it in. I have one student in this course, so it's assigned to this one student. I'm going to switch to the student right now. So here is the student. You can see that the stream is updated. And she can see that there's another evaluation, a BookWidgets exercise ready. So she can click here in the stream, or she can go to classwork and she will see it right here as well. She can click on it, she sees the instructions, and she just clicks here on this link. She's logged into Google Classroom, so she will not have to log in again. I have to do this because I'm logged into 2 accounts at the same time, but your students will immediately go to the right exercise. So they can click here, indicate the different parts of the house, so they can see that. Then we had here the attic, the bathroom, bedroom, the living room, and basement. Then they just scroll down. If it's a quiz, they get an arrow right here, and they have to click on the arrow to go to the next question. Here, they just have to scroll down. They can click here, the bathroom. So you can see it randomized for the students. The bedroom. Okay, so let's say that this is a common mistake. So they switch these things. The living room, and that's correct. Then they can just click on submit. Here you can also see the time go by. So they had 10 minutes. And you can see the score that is for each single question and the total here. Submit, they click on submit. Your student is logged into Google Classroom, so BookWidgets takes those identification from Google Classroom. So students just have to click on send. They don't have to add their email address. They don't have to add the email address of the teacher. This is something you have to do if you just use BookWidgets without the integration of Google Classroom or even Microsoft as well. So when I go back to my teacher, I can see now that one student has handed the work in. So I can click here on this one, or I can click here on view the assignments. And I can see that it's already automatically graded. So she got a 5 out of 8. Of course, I would not be a good teacher if I just sent back the work without even taking a look at it. So I click on the work right here, just one student. If I have a lot of students here, just click on one. Excuse me. Then I go to this dashboard from BookWidgets. So this is the grading dashboard from BookWidgets. So it's your account, your BookWidgets account that's linked to Google Classroom. That's this one. So you can see here what she did. Did she do well? Didn't she do well? And here I have to, I can still override the score. So in this case, I added the basement to be correct. So I used the 2 hashtags, but I didn't do that with the bedroom. So actually this is right as well. So I could say, okay, this is still okay. So I could say mark correct. And then below every single question, I can add feedback. So I can add a comment. Well done. Like this. And I can go below and I can see, okay, this is a mistake she made and this is what it should have been. And I can add a comment. This is a common mistake. Listen closely. Like this. I don't have to change anything. So I don't have to import the grades to Google Classroom. So she had a 5 out of 8. If I just go back to Google Classroom, I see it's already updated to a 6. So you don't have to import anything. You just go to this one, you change things around, you add comments, and then you just go back to Google Classroom to return the work. Handy to know is if a lot of students have handed in work, you will see a black arrow right here, and you can just jump to the next student by clicking on this arrow, and then you will go in the next student's work. This is one way of grading. There's a second way of grading as well, and that is, so this is grading student per student. You can just click on the arrow on the X, and then you can grade question by question. So here are all the questions that are in your exercise. You just click on the question, and here you will see that every single student's answer on this question will just, you can scroll down and then you can see all those answers on that single question. You click on the arrow and you go back to the next question, and you can grade all these answers on this single question. Again, you can add comments as well, and it will save automatically. So I click on the X. This is also a nice statistic that BookWidgets gives you. It's actually the average score of your complete class. So in this case, I just have 1 student that submitted the work. But if I have 20 students, and the average score is just 33% on this single question, then as a teacher, I know I have to remediate. I have to explain that question again because clearly they didn't understand the question. So now I go back to Google Classroom. So I don't have to change anything. I don't have to update anything. I just change the grades. I give some comments and I go back to Google Classroom. I indicate all my students and I send back the work like this. That's it. Then I go back to my students, and then I can see that if it's updating, let's update it, reload. Am I logged in as a student? Yes, let's wait. Let's see here. Yes, now it is. So it had to update first. So here as a student, so this was the first thing I saw. Now I can see that I got as a student 6 out of 8. And I can click here to go to my work. So what were my answers and what do I have right and what do I have wrong? So I click here as a student. And then this is actually just a flat PDF. So students can save it in a Drive folder. They can save it on their computer. So they can take a look at it later again when they have to study for example, exams. So this is what she got wrong, right. And here, this is what she got wrong. And she can see the comments of the teacher below every single question in orange. So this is what she gets back. So that's actually the complete loop of creating an interactive exercise. In this case, an automatically graded test. Important to know is that if you add questions that can't be automatically graded, this will just be orange, and you as a teacher, you have to just give a grade, just add a grade, and then you can send back, and then the student has grades as well. So it's really handy if you have 10 questions that are automatically graded and just one you have to grade. That's still a lot of work saved. So I go back to the teacher. There is one more thing I want to show you, and that is live widgets. So this is when you go click on the plugin. I go to live widgets. I can see students filling out the answers live. So these are all, so I did a few webinars before, and if you click on it, you can see all your students that are in it, and you can see these one change. You can see actual when your students are really typing inside the exercise, you could see it right here. I'm going to try this with you guys. So of course, you're not in my Google Classroom course, but I have a special link that I want to share with you guys so you can see what value these live widgets are. So I'm going to the chat right now, and I'm going to add this link. You can click on it, and you can log in with your Google account. And then when I go to my BookWidgets account, I have a tab Live Widgets. And I will see you guys appear. So if you just click on it and you can log in, I can see how it works. This one, so is the one that I just shared with you. And a lot of teachers are already, so I did it already, and others just started logging in as well. So here I can see it live. So Sonia has started, and she has 1 out of 4 good, and so it will change. So you can do it as well. So I can see it will update it, so other students will appear. And if they are working in it, so let's just see, wait a minute when it's updated. In the beginning, it takes a minute for it to update. And then here I can see teachers working on it. So I can click on Gerard, and I can see what he's typing actually. So bath, room, okay. And then the next one, so I can actually see what he's doing right or wrong. I can go to the next student as well. So she hasn't started as here. She has started, and so on. And this is a nice overview to see, okay, she has here Gerard 0 out of 4. So this is maybe a student that needs extra help. And if I'm teaching live with Google Meet, I could do a private chat to that single student and say, okay, here you need some work, here do you need extra instructions, can I help you out, and so on. So this is really nice. There's a progress bar as well. So you can see the progress bar. And here, when you see this little envelope, this means that the student submitted the work already. So Sonia actually didn't do that well. So, and yeah, you can, of course, the green, the orange, and the red speaks for itself. There's a dustbin here as well. So you could say, okay, Sonia, you submitted way too early. You have to do it again. So you get a second chance. So I can click on this dustbin, and I can say, yes, you can try again. So I'm resetting this widget, and she can start again then later on. So this is really nice. Again, also, you can just click here and you can see the answers right away. So this is the live widget view. It works also with other widgets. So crossword widgets, you will see what they are typing in your crossword. You will see the student with the most answers correct will come on top of the list. You can also blur students. And then you can say, okay, I'm going to choose a student right here. And then the other students, I'm going to project this on my screen, on my big screen, or on my online Google Meet, as you can see right now. And then other students need to give feedback on this student's work. Of course, the name is blurred, so the other students don't know whose work it is. So that's basically what I wanted to show you. I really hope this is something you can use in the classroom, not just live widgets, but of course, everything around BookWidgets. Of course, this is just the top of the iceberg, and that's where the tutorials come in. So if you go to your schoolwork, if you create a new exercise, a BookWidgets exercise, there's a list of other things right here as well. So here you have all the tutorials. So just click here. You can go through the tutorials of every single widget one by one. There are lots of examples as well. So you can go to the examples. If you don't know what you can do with every single exercise, go to the examples, click on the arrow, just open a single example. So in this case, this is a split whiteboard. On one side, as a teacher, I give instructions. On the other side, students have to draw their path, the right path, by reading the instructions. So they just pick a color and they have to start drawing. So I actually know it already from my head. So this is what they have to do. They have to mark the X and they have to go back to the red car. These are exercises you can copy into your own account. You can translate the text if you take a copy in your own account, and you can send it over to your own students as well. So if you have any questions, you can ask them. Sonia or someone else can translate them for me, so that would be easier.
Perfect, Lucy, in time. It's very good. Si tenéis alguna pregunta, he leído algunas por el chat. Sí que es una herramienta de pago, es una herramienta que tiene diferentes modalidades. En el chat Jordi comentaba que costaba 9 euros al mes. Tenéis diferentes tarifas. Nosotros por centros se hacen tarifas especiales con Sonia, podemos mirároslo, ¿vale? Pero bueno, creemos que es una herramienta, la hemos traído nueva a España, actualmente solo está, corrígeme Sonia, funcionando en Reino Unido y en Bélgica.
Bélgica, sí.
En Bélgica, ¿vale? Entonces, creemos que es una herramienta que puede facilitarnos mucho a todos el trabajo como profesores, ¿vale? Entonces, ¿tenéis alguna pregunta? Os quitáis el mute y se la trasladamos a Lucy o Sonia o a mí.
Hey, Lucy, she's asking like when they took the test, that she couldn't see if it was passed or failed, and she's asking, maybe you can show it again quickly.
So here. So here you want to know if they are passed or not. So here you can see she got a 7 out of 7, so this is great. This isn't, so 2 out of 7 isn't great. So you can see immediately if they pass or not. And using this one, so the colors besides them, you can immediately see that this student has really bad because she didn't pass the 2 questions. So she got a 0 out of 4 and a 0 out of 3. It's a he. So then you can immediately see that this student really needs help. And then you could say, okay, I'm giving the student new instructions, maybe inside the classroom or digitally, and then I can clear his work and he can try again. So he can try again and he can start creating the widget again. So I'm giving him a second chance, you would say.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I mean, as a student, when I finish as a student, couldn't see if I was right or wrong.
Okay, here, so this is, as a student, what I'm seeing. So this was the exercise I had to click on, and if the student returned the work, I can immediately see that I got a 6 out of 8. And then here, she clicks on her work, and then she comes inside her work. So here she can see that she got a 5 out of 5 on this one, and she got a 1 out of 3 on this question. So she got, in total, she got a 6 out of 8. Is that it?
I'm not really sure, but I mean, I finished the test you sent us. And then it says all done, and I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Yeah, you can add an option. So in this case, I added the option that students do not get the immediate feedback. So students send it to me and I can review it later on. So in BookWidgets, as a teacher, I can review it and I can send back the work later on to you guys. Of course, I haven't had the time to grade your work, but you could say in BookWidgets, yeah, okay, she can get immediate, so she get immediate feedback, and that's the option. Let's see, modifier. So that's here when you go to the general options, the correction options, this option should be on then. So in this case, it wasn't on, but if I enable this option, my students will get immediate feedback. I can also update my BookWidgets right now. And normally, if you guys reload the widget right now, you could get the answers. So I could also say you don't have to submit it, update it. And if you reload the exercise, I shared with you guys, you can immediately see the answers normally. So then you should be able to do it. So this is really handy about BookWidgets as well.
Goodbye.
As a teacher, if you made a mistake, you can still change your widget, your exercise,